Welcome to the Studio Success Formula Podcast, the business school for dance studio owners. And now for your host, Clint Salter.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. It's Clint here from the Studio Success Formula Podcast. Welcome to episode number 55. Wow, it's crazy, right? Time goes so fast, and I'm super excited to be chatting to you today about a topic that we haven't really covered before. And it's something that we talk about in our Dance Studio Owners Association and in our program, but I feel like we've lost touch with this a little bit when it comes to our marketing, and it is offline marketing strategies. That's right, offline. And I was kind of inspired to talk about this week because over the last 2 weeks, I've been sharing a lot of different strategies about how you can grow your studio online, and whether that's through Facebook advertising, Instagram, creating landing pages, creating offers for free trial classes, unlimited class passes, what should go on your website. I ran a few online trainings last week about those things. And so I thought to myself, hang on a minute, you know what? I want to share with you what works this year, 2016, when it comes to offline marketing, because guys, it's not completely dead. Now, I don't know if you remember, but I certainly remember when the newspaper was working. When I had my studio, my dance studio that I had for 5 years, we used to get the majority of our new student inquiries through our newspaper advert that we did a couple of times a year, and we would get an editorial, a story about our studio as well. And that's how we did it. But those times have changed. So today's episode is for you. If you're doing some online marketing, but you're like, you know what, that flyer in the letterbox, that used to work. You know, that newspaper used to work. Surely there must be some things we can do that doesn't heavily rely on, you know, us being online all the time. It's for you if you're a brand new studio owner. It's definitely for you if you haven't started your studio yet, because you're going to learn the strategies that are going to work, so you don't have to waste all of that money on what doesn't work. We can tell you before you go ahead and do it. And if you've had your studio for a little while and maybe you are still doing some of those old school ways of bringing, you know, trying to bring students through your door, this is going to help you as well, because we're just going to update you and I'm going to let you know what is working for you guys. But first, I wanted to let you know that we are running a few events in Australia, in Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne across February and March, called Dance Studio Ignite. And these are one-day events where I'm bringing along some friends, Kelly Abbey and Marco Panzik, to spend a day with you on really transforming your business. We're going to be teaching you about the finances, the marketing, recruiting the right staff for your studio. Kelly and Marco are going to share their experiences around, you know, teaching students and retaining students as well, and how you can pass on some great information to your students around really what a career in the industry is like. So if you'd love to come along to that event, we have got early bird tickets on sale. Just head to dancestudioignite.com, and that is if you are in Australia. For our overseas friends, keep listening to the podcast, and obviously, tune in to our blogs that we write, and maybe you want to become a member of our association, the Dance Studio Owners Association. We'd love to help you through, you know, all of those things. And if you're in the UK or the US, check out for more information coming soon about the different events that I'll be speaking at during the year, and I'd love to meet you there. So let's jump into today's episode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through like the main offline marketing strategies that are going to work for you in your studio today. Now, all up, there's about 20, but I kind of picked out from my magic box. I picked out the 20 that I wanted to share with you that I know are going to make a difference for you. So let's run through them. So number one, I hope you've got a pen and paper handy. Number one is setting up a stall or a table at a local mall or shopping center. It's really a great way to generate awareness of your studio. Now, there's a couple of things, and I know a lot of you have done this before, and you're like, but Clint, that doesn't work. I'm here to tell you it does. We've had a few members recently that did it during their holidays, and they made it work really well. But there's a couple of key elements, and I want to share with them with you right now. The first thing is it's got to look great. So you can't just like whack up a little table from the local hardware shop, with those flimsy legs with a bit of plastic on top and like plonk a TV on it and that's it. So you want to make sure that it looks really good. Maybe get some pull-up banners or get a step and repeat, one of those kind of big banners that has your logo on it. So maybe during the day you could get people taking photos in front of it. If you've got, if you're running some type of preschool ballet program or something similar, maybe there's like a mascot. You could hire the outfit for the mascot, maybe from the program, to kind of, come out and take some photos with kids against your step and repeat. So you're getting a great branding opportunity there throughout all your social media. That's the awareness piece. You might want to do some other pull-up banners, maybe some balloons. I mean, make it look really good. So that's the first thing. Don't skimp when it comes to putting your brand out there to the public. What you really want to do though during this day, you should be able to tell me. And if I could hear you, I'm sure you would say, Clint, we want to generate new student leads. We want more people to inquire about our dance studio. So that's exactly what we want to work on when we're setting up a stall at a local shopping center or a mall. And so one thing that you can look at doing is doing a 7-day unlimited class pass. And this is great because people can come up to you and say, hey, tell me more. And you can kind of tell them about, your studio and what you do and say, look, today we're offering a 7-day unlimited class pass. And we'd love to offer you this pass. The mistake that people make at a mall or a shopping center is they just hand out flyers, right? They have flyers, they send kids out and parents around the shopping center or at the table and they just hand out flyers, hand out flyers, hand out flyers. What happened to those flyers though? We know most of them, probably about 90% of them, end up in the rubbish bin. And you've wasted all that money. So what you want to do, we're switching this around a little bit. When you talk to them, you get a little card. Now, it can be a DL size or A5 or a similar size, and it's perforated. And they keep a side and you keep a side. The side of that card that they keep is obviously the pass. It says, congratulations, you're coming along for 7 days of dance with us. Here are our details. The other side of the card, though, is where you get them to fill out their contact details. You keep that, and then they become an active new student lead. So when I'm talking about active, is that they're not cold, like they just haven't kind of just rocked up and they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. They're actually active because you've spoken to them, you've got their details, and so then within the 24 hours you want to follow up with them, and then you kind of take the steps on from there. And I've talked already this month about your student enrollment process, so hopefully you got that checklist. If you haven't, check out our website, you'll be able to get access to it. And so you then want to follow up with them, but this is the most important thing: get their contact information, right? So you can then follow up with them. And within 24 hours, guys, don't leave it any longer because by then they're forgotten. I know I spoke to someone a couple of weeks ago and they said to me, Clint, so great, I ran this competition. And I was like, oh, fantastic. Like how many leads did you get? And they said, we got 80 new student leads. I was like, that's fantastic. And I said, so, when did you call them? How many people enrolled? And they're like, oh, I haven't done it yet. I've got to get around to it. And I was like, hey, you've missed like one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. Like you got to call them within 24 hours because you won't get as many in now. They've forgotten about you. So where they're top of mind, reach out to them. Talk to them, get their contact details. Another thing you can do with setting up a stall is you can also do a competition, which I really like as well. So you've got two offerings basically at your table. You've got a 7-day unlimited class pass, and then you've got a competition. And maybe the competition is to win a month's worth of classes. So the way I would do it is if I'm chatting to someone, say, hey, I've got a 7-day limited class pass here, and they show interest, would you like to come along for 7 days to our classes? And if they're like, no, I'd say, hey, not a problem. Well, you're obviously interested, in little Susie coming along the dance classes. Why don't you join our draw? We're running a competition. We're giving away a month of dance classes. Why don't you join that, put your name in the draw, and then they'll go, oh, okay, cool. Less barrier. It's not such a high entry to kind of come in with you and give all their contact details and like commit to coming in for 7 days. It's like just being part of a competition. So they put their, their entry into the competition. which is fantastic. They're going to love doing that. They might win, a pass. Then within 24 hours, I want to make sure you pick a winner. Definitely make sure you pick a winner, but you are going to call every single person that put an entry in. And so pick the winner, let them know, and everyone else, I want you to call and say, hey there, you put an entry in. Unfortunately, you didn't win second prize, but you have won one of our other prizes, which is... And that offer can be up to you. You can give them a 14-day class pass. Maybe you can give them a 1-day trial class. Whatever it is, you can give them like a secondary prize, but they've shown interest, so they're still warm. Okay, this is really like low-hanging fruit for you. They're not completely cold leads because they might have had a conversation with you. They've seen you at the shopping center. So make the most of it. I always talk about, the fortunes is in the follow-up. And you would have heard me say that a lot, but I feel like I can't say it enough because lots of studios are great at getting new leads through the door, but then, they say to me, but Clint, I really don't like getting on the phone and talking to people. And whether it's you or your office staff member, someone has to do it, and it's super important. All right, so let's move on to number 2. Hope that makes a lot of sense to you and has added some value if you're looking at doing shopping center advertising or going to a local mall, and I would suggest you do it. Also, though, I'm gonna stop talking about this, I promise, in a second, but I just want to make sure that you're going to the right shopping center or mall. So make sure you get from the shopping center or the mall the demographics of the shopping center, right? If you're going to a shopping center that's mainly full of retirees, not the ideal place for you to be marketing your dance studio. So go somewhere where you know the demographics of that shopping center. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Clint, stop talking. I've still got a few more to go, 4 more to go. Okay, so number 2 is car advertising. So if you've got a car, I want to ask you, is your car branded? Because car branding is extremely effective way to promote your studio. It's especially true if you do quite a bit of driving, which I know lots of you do. So, and if possible, you want to be able to park your car at the front of your studio so that you're driving additional kind of traffic to your website or calling your phone. The most important thing, though, I see this all the time. I don't do a lot of driving here in Sydney because I'm pretty close to everything. But I know when I used to drive, to teaching and to dancing at my studio, and when I was teaching for other studios, I noticed on the road a lot that a lot of companies would advertise, but there wouldn't be an offer or a call to action. So what you want to make sure is that if you are doing car advertising, that you have an offer. You want people to call you directly. They're not going to, they might look at your website later, but if there's a big phone number there and a website, that is the best thing to do. I really like that. So make sure you've got an offer. I would say to you, if you're a crazy driver, which hopefully, and I'm sure none of you are, they're listening to this podcast, but if you're a crazy driver, and you've got your car branded, you can't cut people off and you can't be mean to people on the road. So please be careful of that. This works really well in line with your bumper sticker strategy. So I don't know who's got one of those, but it's something that we teach in our program where there's a bumper sticker where you've got like, we're part of Jenny's studio family, join the fun with your website address. So we love giving out, I love giving out those bumper stickers when people register for the studio. I give them about 4 because they might have family members that put them on, and it makes them, have a sense of belonging to our studio as well. And if they put the bumper sticker, I just want to briefly mention to incentivize, because you're probably thinking, well, why are they going to advertise my business on their car? I totally get it, right? And so you can incentivize them by maybe you give them, a week's worth of classes for free. If they take a photo with the sticker and tag take a photo with the sticker on their car and they tag the studio on Facebook, you'd be surprised how many people really jump on board with that strategy because they think that it's super fun as well. So car advertising and the bumper sticker, it's kind of like a bonus tip in number 2. The third thing is your studio signage. Now, I know, look, some studios have better locations than others. Some are like stuck between 2 other really big buildings and no one's going to see any signage. But I want you to, next time you go to your studio, I want you to just stand at your studio, right? Rarely do studio owners do this. And I love doing this exercise. Anytime I'm working with, any of our mastermind, our inner circle members, and I go and visit their studio, one of my favorite exercises in the world to do is to like stand in front of the studio and then I do a couple of 360s. I just kind of stand there and I just slowly kind of walk around and take everything in. Like I need to do it a couple of times so I can see everything that's kind of around. And I look at the studio and I just look at it as basically as a blank canvas. Like, okay, studio's blank. Like what's there? Okay, there's a door. Great. There's, 4 lots of windows. There's nothing on the windows. There's, maybe there's a little balcony or a ledge or something. Is there anything hanging off like the walls? If it's a brick building, like is there any like signage or banners that are hanging off the walls? And then I start kind of in my head, you probably guess I'm a very visual person. So in my head, I start kind of painting a picture on the studio of like, what could we put on this studio that is going to make it stand out and attract more people to find out about what this studio does? And essentially in your head, paint a picture of what you want that to look like. I mean, we kind of go, well, there's no, I can't put anything on the windows, or there are no windows, or there's no signage space at the front of, our warehouse where everyone else is. So we look at what's available for us instead of really looking at what the opportunities are. So I want you to kind of look at studio signage a little bit differently. Look at your studio as a blank canvas and see, what pictures can you paint? What is the vision that you want it to look like? It's one of my favorite exercises actually, because it's highly visual, and it just gets you out of thinking, out of normal thinking, out of the box. Because the landlord has said to you, well, you can only do this and this because there's no space for anything else. But it's a great opportunity for you to get creative. To put promotions. Maybe you can do windows that change every month. You can get those sticky vinyl things from the printer. You put them on and you can change them up. So people don't become immune to your signage and your advertising. It's completely changing. So they're always like, oh, what's going to happen this month? You'll see that a lot with health clubs, do it a lot with their advertising. Every month they change it up. Essentially, it's like no joining fee and the first month free, but somehow they keep saying that in creative ways. Or I've seen it a lot as well, beauticians or laser hair removal places. Ladies, you've probably seen it as well, and men, where you see they have different offers. Essentially, it's the same offer every month, but they somehow position it in a different way. So I really want you to kind of look at that. All right, number 4 is coffee or juice cards. And you may have noticed that a lot of your local cafes might have a loyalty card, like for their members. Some of them have gone online now, so some of them are kind of like app driven, but a lot of them still have the card where they, buy 9 coffees and they get 1 coffee free, or buy 10 juices and get one, the 10th juice free. And I've worked with a number of dance studios on a simple campaign where you sponsor the coffee card for the cafe or the juice place. So basically, you would pay for the cards to be designed and produced, and you get one side of the card. It might cost you $100, $150, but you are, putting your brand out there. And so on one side of the card is the puncture hole for the coffees, and the other side of the card is an offer from your studio. And I would make this offer unique to that place, the cafe, the coffee place, or the juice place, and they have to bring that card in to redeem their whatever the offer is, whatever you're offering them. The coffee places generally and the juice places love it because it's adding value to their clients. Their clients is getting something for nothing, plus not having to pay for the cards. You're basically getting leads to come to then, your website. And so the best way to find out is which cafe, what juice place. Ask your customers, ask your dance parents, hey, what's your favorite coffee place? Is something that I suggest is a question on the enrollment form. I know it sounds odd, right? But I love asking, what's your favorite coffee place and what's your coffee order? And occasionally, what we used to do in our studio is we would buy on a Saturday morning, or for our preschool mums, during the week in our classes, we would buy a round of coffees, every, couple of months, and we know exactly what they like because it's on there. I mean, those simple touches, this is not about retention, but hey, I'm throwing in a couple more bonuses for you today. That's something really lovely that you can do. So coffee or juice cards. All right, rock and roll. Number 5, guys, our last tip. And like I said, there's another 15 of these, but I wanted to kind of pick out 5 that I think you could kind of utilize basically straight away, and I think from kind of me talking through these, you're totally, I could get that set up this week, right? About taking action and implementing. Okay, number 5 is your business card offer. Now, most studios, I know, studio owners, they don't have a business card, Why do I know this? Well, because I go to, a whole lot of conferences every year where I'm speaking to dance studio owners and presenting. And, I generally don't have many friends around when I'm at these conferences because they're all back at home. And so I sit and have lunch, and I always pick a table that's got a whole bunch of studio owners at it. And I sit and have lunch with them, during the breaks. And one of the first things I'll say is oh, great, after I've spoken to them, I'd love your business card. I'd love to stay in contact with you. And maybe 1 out of 10 would have a business card. Let's say 2 out of 10. And let's say 1 out of 10 actually have one done the right way. So the biggest mistake I see with is firstly not having one, not having a business card. Guys, please get a business card. But before you do, I want to tell you the second mistake, and that's they don't have an offer on it. So you should place an offer with a strong call to action that is going to drive you some new student leads. The great thing about this is when someone says, oh, my friend is looking for dance classes for their child, or something similar. Like if you're meeting someone or talking to someone, you can say, great, I'd be happy to give her a call, and you can kind of try and take down their details. Or if you're not comfortable with that, I know that's a bit confronting, simply give them a few cards of your business cards to pass on with the offer. Now, if you want to take it to the next level, which is one of my favorite things, include an expiry date on your business card where they can put the month the offer expires. So let's say you're chatting to someone and it's in January. This episode's coming out in January. And you say to them, hey, look, I'd love to give you the opportunity to come in and try some of our classes. This is valid for the next 4 weeks. So give us a call and love to see you there. Right? So it creates a sense of urgency, which is really important. Otherwise, they'll just throw the business card away, or they'll leave it on the fridge or something. They won't do anything with it. I'd also give your teachers and staff business cards with the same offer. I love this because I don't know many studio owners that actually give their staff business cards because they're like, oh, that's an expense. I mean, jump onto Vistaprint or, so many cheap kind of printing places online, get your graphic designer, jump onto Upwork or Freelancer or, look, there's so many different places you can get business cards done. Jump onto those websites and, get a business card created for your team and, offer them to give it out as well. And like with your staff, you can just create, like for all of your teachers, you don't need to have their name printed on it. Maybe you've got a space that just says, dance teacher at, Jenny's Dance Academy, and they can write their name on it. That's fine as well. But I would then incentivize them. And maybe if, someone comes in, they've given the card out and someone comes in with those details, maybe they get like a $50 gift voucher for anyone, that comes in and enrolls in a class because of a card that they've handed out. I mean, they love that. We used to do like massage vouchers, which, they absolutely love. But we change it up. We change the offer up every year. Okay, guys, so I hope that was helpful. Let's kind of do a recap. So the first one was setting up a stall at the local shopping center or the mall. Number 2, I hope you've got like a notepad full of notes from this. Number 2 is the car advertising. If you're not a hoon, like you don't go crazy in your car, wrap your car, put some advertising on it, and also look at those bumper stickers for your dance families. Number 3 is your studio signage. Stand and do that exercise. Don't just say, no, Clint, we can't do studio signage, because believe me, if you do that exercise, stand out, do a couple of 360s, do it with someone else and see what they come up with as well. Grab your office manager or a couple of teachers and say, okay, guys, this is going to sound really weird. Let's just stand here in silence. Let's do a couple of turns, slow turns, not fast ones. No pirouettes needed. Let's just do like a couple of slow turns and kind of have a look at our environment and also the front of our studio, and let's see what we can do. You can also do that exercise inside your studio, around like where you want to put posters promoting something or images of, students or testimonials, whatever. That's another episode, I promise. Let me know. Jump onto our Facebook page if you want me to do an episode around how to kind of lay out the inside of your dance studio from a marketing and retention perspective and to help you promote workshops and that type of thing. Jump onto our Facebook page, facebook.com/studio success formula, and let me know. I'd love to do an episode on that. Number 4 was the coffee or juice cards. Number 5, the business card offer. Guys, you have got 5 things there. So what is the next step? What do you think the next step is? Yes, you need to take action. I've given you 5 things. Just pick one. Just pick one thing that you're going to implement over the next 7 days. 7 days. What do you reckon? Do you reckon you can do it? I do. And what I want you to do is when you have completed that, I want you to send me an email. So email me straight directly, transform@studiosuccessformula.com. Email me directly. Tell me what you have achieved in the 7 days. Right? It's a little challenge for you. Tell me. I want to know what action you've taken from today's episode. Guys, I hope that was helpful for you. You know what? We're here to give you as much value as possible. This podcast happens every single week. You hear from me a little bit. You also hear from some amazing people, right, who are doing some great things in the world. I want to make sure that you definitely check in to next week's episode. Next week is our first special guest episode for 2016. And it's with a great friend of mine, Joanna Grazilli. And Joanna Grazilli is an intuitive life coach. Right now, don't get afraid. It sounds a little bit woo-woo, I know, but she is fantastic in helping business owners, CEOs of big companies tap into their intuition to really help them to grow their business. It is an awesome episode, if I do say so myself. I received so much out of it, and I know that you guys are going to be blown away by what Joanna has to say. Okay, that is it from me today. Like I said, guys, if you are in Australia or want a holiday to Australia, it is nice and warm here at the moment. Come and check out our live events, Dance Studio Ignite, happening in Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne, across February and March. Love to see you there. Head to dancestudioignite.com. That is all from me today. Can't wait to receive your emails with the action you have taken over the next 7 days. Take care, everyone, and I'll talk to you really soon. Bye for now.
Are you enjoying the Studio Success Formula podcast? Then we'd love for you to share the love. We want to help more dance studio owners become go-to studios, so we'd greatly appreciate you writing us a review on iTunes. For taking the time out to do so, every month, Clint will be selecting one lucky dance studio owner to receive a Power Business Coaching session. Simply visit the iTunes store today, search for Studio Success Formula, click on ratings and reviews, and then write your review. Thanks in advance. Take care, and we'll see you next time.